Hey, Yolanda, I'm not able to hear you.
I am so sorry, guys. Oh, happy Friday! Okay. I can't believe that. Okay, let me start over. Welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. Okay, I'm your host today, Yolanda Spivey. Now, today's conversation is about education, work, and whether the traditional path still makes sense. Google has announced it's hiring employees without college degrees, focusing more on skills and experience than formal education. That raises real questions. Is college still worth the cost? Are degrees becoming optional? And are we preparing our children for the workforce that actually exists? Not the one we grew up believing in. Today, we're talking about skills, base hiring, student debt, alternative paths, and what parents need to be thinking about right now. Let's get into it. Today, I have our special queens, okay? My sisters. First, Micah, the creator, our AI expert. I know you're going to have a lot to say about this one, sis. Okay. And we have Tara, the bossy educator. So, first up, ladies, what do you think about what's going on with this Google thing? Does this surprise you? We'll start with Micah.
Yeah, it actually doesn't surprise me. Google has been making this move, I want to say, for maybe like the last 12 or 15 years, right? And the thing is that when it comes to technology, for someone who's in a business with like theirs and it's rapidly expanding and rapidly growing, you honestly can't afford for somebody to wait, 4 years or more for them to get done with their education, only to come to their table inexperienced and having a whole lot of knowledge in which they're never even going to be able to use. So Google in the past has been like, no, you don't necessarily need a degree. A lot of times they would want to see a certificate, and they've even gone as far as like funding initiatives to help people get what's called nano degrees, right? So you can get certificates from different organizations that they've partnered with, where you can really kind of get done in 3 to 12 months, knowing the exact skill set that they need for their employees to actually be able to come in and do a great job. So, I'm all for it.
Oh wow. How about you, Tara, the bossy create educator?
Yes. Well, I think that Google is going to a more in-house direction because they feel as if, hey, who can do it better than us? So if we can actually provide the requirements for the individuals that we want to work for us and we understand what their competence level is, maybe something that is theoretical as a degree is not necessarily needed. We want to actually teach our people and direct them and provide them the curriculum that we need them to learn. So more of like the Google way, so to say.
Oh wow, okay. I have another question for you ladies, but first we're going to get into this video and then we'll be back.
Job seeker paying attention. Speaking to Stanford engineering students, Brin revealed that Google is now hiring tons of people without bachelor's degrees. His exact words, they just figure things out on their own in some weird corner, and the numbers back this up. In 2017, 93% of Google job postings required a degree. By 2022, that dropped to 77%. That's a massive shift from one of the most elite companies on the planet. Microsoft, Apple, and Cisco are doing the same thing. Here's the real takeaway. The gatekeepers are losing their power. Credentials are being replaced by capability. Companies want to see what you can actually do, not just what diploma hangs on your wall. Brin even said universities themselves might need to rethink what they are entirely. So if you've been holding yourself back because you don't have that piece of paper, this is your sign. Build the skills, create the portfolio, solve real problems. The world's biggest companies are no longer asking where you studied. They're asking what you can do.
Wow. Let me tell you ladies something. Back in the day, okay, and I'm talking about in the 90s because sister is seasoned, but yeah, they required a college degree just to become a receptionist at a firm. A college degree, just
Yep.
to sit behind a desk answering phones. So this is very surprising to me. So my question to you is, does a college degree still matter today? And we'll start with you, Tara.
Well, actually, I do think a college degree does still apply today because we do have those applied areas, such as an educator. You have to have a license in order to teach. And although they do provide provisional licenses, which allows people that are not certified yet to go ahead and come into the school system, because obviously there is a shortage, especially in those high needs areas, such as special education, your science, your math, your ESOL, right? However, if you are going into something maybe that is more directed towards being a pet groomer, for example. I have a student that wants to be a pet groomer. He's really, really excited about it. He's actually an artist. So he actually draws out how he wants each pet to look based on how they come in. So he has his whole concept, right? So that's not something that he would necessarily have to go to school in order to get a 4-year degree to do, but he will be able to go to pet grooming school and get all the essentials. And then who knows, he may want to become a vet assistant, a veterinarian after that, but he has already created his own path that does not include college degrees. So yes, I do think that it is necessary for those applicable areas, but not for all areas in order for you to achieve your level of success.
Certainly not like a receptionist, okay?
Nah, not so much.
But I do agree. If you're going to be a doctor, lawyer, or some skill type of profession, you definitely do need a college degree. And also, in some cases, if you just want like self-fulfillment, like I went to college first for self-fulfillment, okay?
Mhm.
Self-fulfillment, so I can, it was almost, okay, my ego was talking, just tick it off, my little box of life. How about you, Michael? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that every individual Black American, especially if they have young children and they are thinking about this whole college system, right? We have to look at the fact that there's a system and then there's cracks within that system. You really have to think about, as a parent, whether or not this is going to be a good deal for your family. Keep in mind also, because not only is your child on the hook for these high interest loans, right? But then you are also on the hook. And that's the way that they design it. Your child turns 18, but the United States government doesn't consider your child an independent adult until they are 24 years old, unless they meet certain conditions. So you have to really kind of look at, is this a good economic, decision for you and your family, or are you at greater risk of taking a hit considering what's going on inside of the industries? So I would say, if your child's wanting to go into something that doesn't, that might not fully require them to have a, degree, then maybe they need to be thinking about other ways to help, pivot their education and the amount of money that they're spending so that they can create stability and actually make it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I agree. And that was the next question. Do you think college is overpriced for what people get out of it? What are your thoughts, ladies? Tara?
Oh yeah, I definitely think it's overpriced and the amount that college costs now for a lot of different colleges and universities. I mean, they went up 30, 40, 50%. Even the college that I went to, thank God I was able to get a full scholarship because my parents were just not prepared, right? And as a result of that, a lot of our parents, our families are not prepared. And so where does that leave the children that are interested in going to college, but do not necessarily have the funds or may not have had the academic status in high school in order to get that full ride that covers your tuition, your books, your housing, your parking sticker, and all the other prices that they stick on as well. So I do not think that it is something that is in a space where I would say, oh yeah, everybody's able to afford it. It's not. Affordability is definitely an issue. We're having issues right now in Atlanta with a lot of students even having housing and the appropriate housing. Sometimes they show up with their things and there's no housing at all for them. So they have to find those alternative routes. So definitely I do not think it's priced correctly. I do think it has gone up tremendously within the last, I would say, 10 to 20 years. And I think that that's something that people need to look at as well. Find those scholarships out there. So many scholarships go with that fund, going back to the originator because nobody applied for it. So if those scholarships are not applied for, then they go back and then they just come the next year and the money is there still. And hey, please apply. So that's very important to apply for that free money that's out there and get prepared for FAFSA as well. Parents, go ahead and file your taxes because that's something that they will ask for.
Yeah, I agree with you, Tara. But you know, a lot of people in the audience, they're saying yes, scholarships and grants, but not everyone will qualify for those things because there
Mhm.
are some, you know, D-list students who desire school. And if their parents don't have it, what do they do? So, Sister Micah, do you think we're pushing our kids towards debt?
I do, in
Mhm.
the event that there's not a strategic plan in place, right?
Mhm.
I believe someone in the audience just said a moment ago, college is for the experience, right? So are you going there with the mindset that you need to network and make greater connections? Because if one thing that children need to learn is that it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. So
Mhm.
you absolutely have to be strategic. If your child has the opportunity to go to Stanford, Yale, or Princeton, it's like, yeah, go ahead and get the education, get the stamp, but then also make sure that they're prepared to make those necessary connections, because that's what's going to actually seriously determine their real true success moving out of there. And then only then is it actually kind of like a good deal.
I absolutely agree. When I was in corporate, the biggest um, paycheck that I've ever received came from a connection, not me going into the interview. I just knew the CEO, okay, and he hooked it up. All right. But I haven't been in corporate in 18 years. So thank goodness. All right, y'all. Are we going into another video, producer? Let me know. Let me know. But if not, um, okay, well, let's go to a video right now. Thank you.
Do these kinds of things on your own, right? Learning computer science or whatever it is, that is entirely on you, right? So college gives you a framework. You get classmates, professors, classes, everything structured. You're told the next step explicitly. You just have to do it. You're surrounded by tons of people who want the same thing that you do. You have the pressure to learn because one, there's the money that you're paying, but two, there's the shame of like failing, right? You don't want to be the only person who didn't pass, like insert, whatever fucking class you took. And so that pressure is really real, right? It's tangible, and that forces you to learn and grow at a crazy rate. Now, when you're by yourself, all that motivation has to come from within, right? You can set up fake deadlines, sure. You can find communities, you can network and build yourself sort of an equivalent to that. But again, it's coming from you, right? College gives you this whole entire framework included, right? And I think that's where you kind of have to start asking yourself, like, the question of, do you have that in you? Like, can you be so intrinsically motivated that you can put in the work every single day? Can you like grind out whatever assignments you've like set up for yourself, go through whatever resources you have, and also reach out to mentors, build a community, find a community, and do all these things on your own, because that's what you have to do, right? This is a totally achievable thing. You don't need college. College is very redundant as far as like, I don't know, I don't want to say like, medicine and shit, obviously, yeah. But for the most part, you can learn anything you want on your own, but it has to come from you. So ask yourself,
Yeah, wow. So one of our viewers just wrote, Stephanie, hey, how you doing, girl? She said, college, in my opinion, is for discovery, but in this day and time, it is not necessary in order for them to be able to thrive and be successful. So my question to you, Tara, is this. Are schools preparing kids for real jobs, or is it an outdated system? And I'm talking about from the elementary on up to college.
Absolutely. Well, as an educator that has taught on the elementary level, middle school level, high school level, and the collegiate level, I do think that there is a lack of preparation. I feel as if sometimes parents are more concerned with their kids making A's and B's opposed to, did they really get the information? Are they really retaining the information in order to apply it in other places, not just for this space or this system? And even if it's a private school, it's still considered a system, right? They have their system within their system as well, the same way the public school does. And as a teacher that is only taught in Title I schools, I feel as if the curriculum requires the children to learn information too fast. So if you're not able to retain the information, you're just regurgitating what you learned just for this particular test or this benchmark. Did you really learn it? Are you able to apply it after we go to the next chapter or to the next unit? So that's something that we have to really think about. And preparation is key.
Yeah, it really is. I noticed that a lot of kids now are going into trade schools and things of that nature because they just feel like college is just a waste of time. But one of our viewers, and I'll direct this question next to Micah, she said, and this is Pitt Turner. Hey, Pitt. Yeah. Okay, she said, I find it interesting that they are now pushing for a lack of college degrees since Black women are now the largest new demographic to obtain degrees. Now, Micah, we have seen over the years, so many people, they brag, well, we are the biggest college degree holders, Black women, but it has been the biggest thing in the news for, I would say, about the last 10 years. What do you think about that? Do you think that now there are requiring less degrees because Black women are the most educated and they kind of like don't want us in the work field, sort of, kind of?
So, not necessarily, right?
Okay.
I honestly feel like putting the spotlight on the systematic racism is a massive distraction. The whole purpose of you going through the process and kind of getting the degree is so that you could come out with a high-paying, stable job, which was necessary for you to be able to do something in life, right? And so what ends up happening, what they decided to do, that's the whole reason why we were running out and getting degrees, is that they were like, okay, so you guys are getting degrees so that you can create stability. Let's figure out how we can still rock the boat for you. Let's figure out how we can do things, throw monkey wrenches, microaggressions, right? In order to help push you out of stability. Because if you're losing your job every 2 to 5 years, or even in lesser time spans than that, it ends up hurting your credit, right? It ends up hurting your savings. It ends up hurting your investment portfolio. You cannot build. Your children are going through trauma. I mean, it's a whole bunch of things. So that was the whole reason in which we were getting it. And I think the focus needs to not necessarily be on like the degree, but for the individual. What can I do to create at least 5 to 10 years of high earning potential where there is stability?
Right.
Because at the end of the day, that is the only thing that matters. And I think what we've learned now is if you think that we still live in a country where people want to freely hand that to you, you're wrong. Then now that's why they can say now, well, we don't care about your piece of paper. We still want to control the narrative. So now what?
Yeah.
We really have to think about the positions we're putting ourselves and our children in.
That is so darn true. You be preaching, girl. That is so true. So let me ask you ladies this. And Tara, okay, Black women, their jobs, they lost their jobs. As we know, 300,000 Black women lost their jobs under the Trump administration and everything. And they're basically saying, F your degrees, okay? Do you think at this time, Black women should really focus on entrepreneurship or building systems together in order to survive this patrix that we're living in? Not matrix, patrix, which is patriarchy.
All right. Well, first, I feel as if everyone is not interested in being an entrepreneur. We have to understand that first. Everyone is not interested in it. Everybody is not good at it, even some of the ones that are. Okay. Right. It is definitely something that you have to want to do. It is boots to the ground. It is, trying to figure out, okay, well, I'm going to get this gig. This project will pay this amount of money. I got to, put this with this other project, and then another opportunity may come about, and that's how I'm gonna create this bucket of money, right? In order to be able to still sustain. And like Michael was saying earlier, just to make sure that you have some type of stabilization there. And sometimes entrepreneurship does not offer that right away. So we need to teach other things other than just entrepreneurship. We need to also teach about stock options. That's something that Uncle Boyce talks about all the time. Those stock options, instead of you saying, oh, I got to go out and, get some real estate in order to have value or have something that is outside of, okay, if I pay $300,000, I have it's $400,000. Well, yeah, but stock options, you can do something right away. And you don't have this contract between you and another person. You got to sell the property or whatever. It's instant where you're able to say, okay, you know what? I may need to sell this in order to do something else and pivot during that process. Because honey, when I tell you, you will look, as an entrepreneur, I can't tell you how many times I've pivoted, but it is very necessary. And you have to have faith over fear. Okay. For those of you that believe in somebody, okay, you have to have some faith over fear. So I do not push entrepreneurship on people. I do suggest it, however, as a way, because I do think ownership is definitely the truth and the light. However, everyone is not necessarily prepared or ready to go in that direction. And they may want to take baby steps and kind of still have their job and still do entrepreneurship. And you can definitely do both of them successfully. You just have to have automation in place. That's what I tell people all the time. They're like, sorry, how do you do all these different things? Automation, honey, is my friend. Systems is my friend. And as an entrepreneur, you're constantly learning. You are a lifelong learner. You are a lifelong networker, and you're always trying to figure out how to become better and do things more efficiently and effectively as well. So let's not just put everybody in that bucket of entrepreneurship, because it's not everybody's cup of tea. But ownership is something that we should push, and that could be stocks. That can be investments.
You make a good point. When I did the Bianca White experiment, when I changed my race to a white woman to get jobs, I remember corporate, yeah, girl, corporate closed. They blackballed me. They closed their doors in my face. So I had to go into entrepreneurship. It was either sink or swim. And I don't sink, okay? So I swam with the gullies, baby. I swam with the fishes.
Absolutely.
We have stats, y'all. We're gonna go over. Let's do some stats here. Black graduates carry higher student loan debt on average than white graduates. What else, y'all? What do you guys think about that? Black graduates, okay, employers are increasingly valuing the certifications, portfolios, and experience. You know what? That is so wrong. Many degrees. I'm sorry, I wanted to read that last stat, but it's okay. Let me tell you why that's wrong. Because back in the day, I'm telling you, when I was on a corporate plantation, they wanted you to have that degree. Your certificate, you couldn't move up in corporate if you did not have a degree. Okay. They didn't care how dumb, deaf, or blind your ass was. You had to have a degree. All right. And some of the most skilled workers who didn't have a degree always stayed at the bottom. Always stayed at the bottom. What are your thoughts about that, ladies? Micah?
So that's part of the gatekeeping, right? It holds its purpose. And if I'm being honest with you, growing up, even through high school, I was a DF student, but I still had teachers that allowed me to teach their classes. I still have the opportunity to graduate a year early, right? And when I moved over to college, as far as like the cost of it goes, I tried to go to college about 5 times, and because of the way that the system is set up, I had to drop out 5 times just because of the inability to pay for it, right? So then what does that mean? Well, I'm not an idiot. I know how to teach myself. That's how technology came about. I taught myself, I branded myself, I went into entrepreneurship way back then. But when I wanted a job, what happens? I had that door. Right. Oh, bachelor's degree. Oh, you need to have skills in this expensive software. I'm like, but I'm already getting the thing done with, with this thing or whatnot. So, and I think what happens is that they realize that they're missing out on really great talent and waiting too long for it by requiring it. Because if I'm being honest with you, for years, I've had like the top of the top of the top of the top people want to listen to me, want to hear what I have to say, want to know what the plan is. Even when it comes to technology, there are areas in which I don't know, and yet I'm still able to lead a room full of geniuses that do not see what I see. So what they've learned is that the degree wasn't necessarily the determining factor anymore for leadership and intelligence and profitability, which is honestly what they they really need. So they're like, okay, let's just see what's out there. And for the most part, like there you have it.
Yeah. Yeah. What are your thoughts, Tara?
Well, it's all about the competency. People, when I hire people for my company, I do not necessarily ask them, do they have the degree? I want to know about their lived experiences, and I want to know about their lived life and how have they seen, like, do you have the vision that I have? Are we able to share the vision? Are we able to communicate about the vision? Are we able to solve the problem? And oftentimes I tell my parents when they come to the parent-teacher conferences and they're like, oh, he has a C, he has a D. And like Micah stated, she was a DF student. However, I always tell my parents, are they able to problem solve?
Right.
Oftentimes I ask my gifted students, my A+ students, my principals list students, right? My dean's list students, right? I ask them real life questions about problem solving. I led a critical thinking course, and I was asking them about things critical that you will critically have to think about as an adult. And something was just as simple as, if you want to go out with your friends to the Chris Brown concert and you have $300, but your light bill is due and your gas bill is due, which one are you going to pay first? Well, a lot of my A+ students like, oh, well, I'll probably just go ahead and go and pay, and then, pay for that ticket and ask for my parents to pay my bills after the fact. But my CDF students, Miss Seals, I'm gonna have to just probably watch Chris Brown on TikTok and be in my lights and have my gas and my utilities and things paid. So are you able to actually problem solve? So many students are very intelligent, but they're not able to problem solve. So that questions their level of competency and their ability.
Wow, your answer went right into one of our viewers, Dominique Morgan, 1776. Okay. She says, the school system seems to overlook essential life skills like managing personal finances, home maintenance, gardening, and other practical abilities that can help individuals sustain themselves. She is absolutely correct. Because when I went to the school, when I was in high school in the 90s, I remember we had a course on how to budget our checkbooks, how to balance it out. And I thought that was awesome, so because when I left high school, I was able to balance my checkbooks and look at my bank account and know what I'm looking at. Kids today, they don't know that. I don't even think they know how to open up a bank account, So,
no.
Yeah, we're going to go into another video right now. Let's go.
If you're getting in something like engineering or medicine, yes, college is a must. But for most people, it's just a trap. And the number one reason is this: the debt is killing most people. On average, college kids are graduating with over $40,000 in student loans. Not only that, it takes on average 21 years for people to pay it back. So that's almost longer than it is to pay a mortgage. Imagine still paying for your college while you're trying to send your kids to college. Crazy, right? The second reason it's become a scam is because you don't really need to get a high-paying job. Real talk, times have changed. So some of the biggest companies like Google, Apple, they don't even require you to have a degree anymore. They're just hiring people based off their skill set. And so why spend 4 years in college and hundreds of thousands of dollars? You can get the same skill set in half the time and half the cost. Last thing is this: college has become so outdated that when I was taking a marketing class, they were teaching us magazine ads and billboards. And this was in 2012. So how much do you think I've used that since? Zero, not once. And that's just one example. But to be honest with you, most college curriculum, they're not keeping up with the fast moving job market. It just is what it is. So basically, this is it. Back in the day, yes, it was mandatory to go to college to get a good job and make a lot of money. But now it's so much easier to succeed without it. So you still need skills, you still need education. You just don't have to go to school for 4 years and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to get it. So if you're somebody who has a degree, or maybe you don't have a college degree, but you want to learn how to win in today's world, so comment.
Oh, goodness. He is so absolutely correct. These babies today, they are on AI. They are making money in so many ways just via social media. They don't really care about college, and they really don't need it because they know how to make their money to sustain themselves. So, ladies, do you think college is a scam? We'll start with you, Ms. Tara.
No, I do not think college is a scam. I do think it is necessary for some areas of applicable degrees. Also, some of our students need some type of structured educational experience. And that is what college can offer. But you don't have to go to the one that costs $100,000. Honey, go down the street to your HBCU. Let's stop giving all these other schools all these props, these Yales and places that really don't want us to be there anyway, okay? Let's go to our HBCUs. Let's have these conversations early so that we are prepared, opposed to when our kids get to high school, you know, they're in 11th and 12th grade, and you're like, well, I don't know what he want to do. Well, you haven't been preparing. He's been with you all this time. You're the parent. You're the one that's responsible for providing the structure and to make sure that this child at least is able to take care of himself. And oftentimes we have parents that are not able to take care of the children even when they're 18 and under. So you're definitely not trying to take care of them when they become grown. So let's go ahead and have the conversations. So many parents delay these conversations and they're afraid to have them, or, oh, my baby's going to leave, or how am I going to feel as an empty nester, or what have you. But we have to go ahead and have the conversations, and what I like to call them courageous conversations, to get the movement started, right? We got to have an action plan, involve them instead of letting them go off to their room and have their dinner, their lunch, or whatever. Let's have those conversations around the table. Let's pull out a pencil and pen. Where are the 5 places that you would like to go to college? Have you even thought about going to college? What do you want to go to college for? You know, let's start now. Let's start early. We can start in elementary school. I have those students, those conversations with my students in elementary school, and I will wear the college t-shirts, and we'll have a college day, have the career fair so people can come and tell them about their careers or whatever, so that they are acclimated to what's going on out here in the real world. They're being exposed to the information, so they can't say that they're leaving this space not knowing.
Wow. Yeah. What about you, Micah? Do you think it's a scam, especially knowing now that AI is like taking over a lot of jobs now? What are your thoughts?
So I don't think it's a scam, but I will say don't get scammed straight up, right? So here's the thing. When I talk to young people, I never tell them like, oh, you know, go follow your desire, go follow your passion and all of that, because it can absolutely lead you into a pit. What I tell them is get on salary.com and find out where the money is. Then find out what's required for the money, because it is a horrible thing to sit up there and follow your passion, and then you run into the possibility that it doesn't pay or sustain you what you thought it would when you actually get out there into the real market, right? And then you can't pay the loan back. Then you can't do anything with it. Then you're trying to figure out like, what do I do now? Because I'm $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 or more in debt, and this isn't even a match for life. Now I have to go spend more money to pivot and do something else, right? So think more about the lifestyle you want to live instead of your passion, and then get on board with that.
Absolutely.
And some of them find out about the information too so late in the game. They don't really do the research that they need to do. It's just, oh, I want to be an anesthesiologist. Okay, you don't know how many hours anesthesiologists work, how much money it costs to be an anesthesiologist. Is it going to be something that you want to do long term, or will you have to pivot and get another degree in order to go another direction, or spend money on building another business? Time is money. We know that. We're here at the Fly Nubian Money.
All right. That's right, sis. That's right. So here's some stats. Many degree holders work in jobs that do not require a college degree. Okay. Student loan debt in the U.S. exceeds $1.7 trillion. That is sick. Employers are increasingly valuing certification, portfolios, and experience. We did say that before. All right. Skill-based hiring has grown significantly in tech and creative industries. That is so true. Yes. And let me tell you also, ladies, a lot of people are going back again, like I said before, to the trades, plumbers. They're even encouraging people to become plumbers, electricians, and things like that. And recently on social media, I saw like a meme where they were like, they were joking, AI can't do this, and they showed a plumber, changing out a toilet, and AI can't do that. And they showed the electrician, doing their thing. And I thought that was kind of nice. I thought that was kind of cool, because not everybody have to go into the computer world. They can still do things like that we consider manual labor. And those blue collar people, they make a lot of money. Okay.
Yeah. More so about, don't tell me what you can do. Show me what you can do.
Exactly. All right, ladies, we're going to go into another video. And we'll be
Killing most people. On average, college kids are graduating with over $40,000 in student loans. Not only that, it takes on average 21 years for people to pay it back. So that's almost longer than it is to pay a mortgage. Imagine still paying for your college while you're trying to send your kids to college. Crazy, right? The second reason it's become a scam is
Did we see that one already?
Making a
Let
lot
me
of
do
money
that.
without a degree say college is a scam, because college is not a scam. And this is coming from someone who's in tech right now without a degree as well. The thing about college is whatever you put in it is what you get out of it. You cannot go through college, just do the very bare minimum, go to class, do enough to pass, and then you get your degree and you can't find a job and say college is a scam. College isn't a scam. You just didn't take full advantage of your opportunity.
Yo, I'm a cybersecurity professional with over 10 years of experience, and I agree with this video. Look, let me show you something. This is my bachelor's degree that I got in 2016 in computer engineering technology. Without this degree, I would have never gotten into cybersecurity because I needed that for my DoD internship. They got me into cyber all the way back in 2015, okay? Let me show you guys something else. This is my master's degree in cybersecurity and information assurance from WGU. I got this in 2024. I did not pay for this, but the point that I'm making is that these degrees, they definitely helped me in my career, especially the bachelor's degree, more than a master's. So if you have to get a bachelor's degree, just go and get it. If you can avoid it and save money, save your money. But if you can do it, just go and do it. It'll definitely help your career.
Oh, wow. You know, there's I call them degree snobs, okay? People who walk around thinking if you don't have the minimum bachelor's, you can't sit at their table, you know. So what do you guys think about what that man just said? He said at least get a bachelor's degree, at least if you can afford it. What are your thoughts? Is that necessary?
To me,
Mhm.
to me, it's like I hate to go there. I really do, because I come from a highly degreed family, right?
Okay. Degree snob.
Listen, is college necessary? Yes and no.
Why did we go? So-
So here's the thing. All
Okay,
that
good.
said to me is like, all you have a paper on your wall with a stamp that says that you were obedient, you studied, you did some work, and that paper gets to say that you are better than other people. And that paper gets to say that you deserve the job opportunity more so than other people. And if somebody who subscribes to that ideology is the hiring manager, great, it works for you. Kudos, congratulations, right? And yet we live in a capitalism society that is realizing, oh, wait a minute, that looking at that just might hurt our profitability, right? It might hurt our competitiveness. And the necessary skill set doesn't always have a piece of paper, a signature, and a stamp in debt attached to it.
True.
So if he did it and it worked for him, congratulations. I mean, brother, go ahead. You can live a life of stability. You can gain the American dream. But what people need to understand is that the American dream is not always on the end of that. And 300,000, again, Black women found that out in the last year or two. And if they do not have the necessary survival skills, they're sinking. They're sinking. It's like we said earlier, entrepreneurship isn't for everybody. I agree. I teach entrepreneurship, and I can't tell you how many times I run into people that are just like, "Oh my God, I'm scared. Oh my God, I don't want to take that. I don't want to take that opportunity." It's like, okay, so you're going to sit here and let yourself drown? I don't know why we're so afraid of failure when the truth of the matter is we already know what that feels like.
Mhm.
So, what other decisions are we going to make, and how are we going to pivot?
Yeah. What about you, Tara? What are your thoughts?
Well, as a person that has 3 degrees and had 3 of them by 25, I'm very proud to say that I have them. I worked hard for them. I earned them. And I also had full scholarships for my bachelor's degree. So my parents didn't pay 1 red cent. Okay. But of course, the graduate degrees came along with their price tag, but That's zeroed out. I don't owe anything for that either. So I am one of the fortunate ones that was not only able to work for degrees, get those degrees, earn those degrees, have those degrees, and not be in debt to those degrees. But it's always usually people that don't have them that are more snobby about it than the people that have them. And
You
that's
think
just what
so?
I've noticed. Yes, that's what I've noticed in my personal experience. It's like they talk about my degrees more than I do. I never really bring them up. I know I have them. I'm the one that earned them. They're mine. They have my name on it, the stamp, everything approved. However, most of the time when it's a conversation about them, it's the person that don't have them. So it's kind of like, are you a person that probably tried to get it and didn't get it, wanted to get it, couldn't get it, or whatever the case may be? Maybe so. But we can all work together in order to make sure that we are creating lives for ourselves and for those that we affect that are sustainable, that are led with education, because you can still have education and not have a degree. Just because you don't have a degree doesn't mean that you're not educated. Okay.
That's so true.
You know, so we have to also respect that. And I'm not going to say that degrees are a bad thing to have, because I've seen so many amazing things that degrees have afforded people to do, such as myself. My mom went to college. She did not finish, but my dad did go to school and he finished. My grandparents do not have college degrees. So as the firstborn grandchild to have a degree, and also the first person in my family to have an MBA, and also the first person in my family to have an MAED, kudos for my family, right? So I led them to the water. Now, hey, baby, if you want to drink you some, cool. If not, I ain't mad at you, but let's still get this money. We still got to survive. And the thing about money is this: it costs money to come here, it costs money to stay here, and it costs money to leave here. So however you get it, figure it out.
Get it.
Yes.
Oh, yo, your comment made me remember a conversation a long time ago I had with one of my girlfriends, because I completed school kind of late. Life circumstances had me, completing it took me 10 years to complete my associates. Look, I was a homeless teen. We did what we had to do, okay? And I remember I was on the phone with my best friend from high school. And I said, girl, I finally did it. And she said, what, you graduated from college? I said, yes. She said, what did you get? I said, I got my associates in film and communication. She said, that's it? And I said, yeah, like I was so excited, like, yeah, because I felt like I completed, I did something
For
and
you.
oh, and that right there brought me down so hard. My ego was crushed. I'm like, wow, that wasn't enough. Like, but it did kind of prompt me, to go get my bachelor's. Okay. So I did end up getting my bachelor's degree, but it also made me realize how many degree snobs there are out there.
Oh,
There are
yeah.
some people, when they have a degree, they only want to hang out with people with degrees. That's it. Okay. So my question to you ladies is this. Do you think, because a lot of kids now are not getting degrees, okay? Do you think them being able to make money on the outside of a degree is leveling the playing field when it comes to cachet, making that money? What are your thoughts? Any one of y'all, what are your thoughts?
I don't feel like it's leveling the playing field, right? Because just because you are able to make money doesn't necessarily mean that you possess financial literacy. And that's a major thing. Part of my industry is digital marketing, right? And there are people that make $1 million a year and also lose $1 million a year just because they do not have financial literacy. They can get the whole plaque and everything like that for what they accomplished and what they performed, and yet still have nothing to be able to show for it. So if we look at what the playing field really means, it means access to property, right? It means that you do have that financial literacy, that you have assets that are appreciating, right? And then you've also created opportunities for generational wealth that make things easier for the lineage that's coming behind you. And for me, that's a level playing field. A statistic came up earlier that said that Black Americans were graduating with higher amounts of debt than white Americans. Well, we have to look at why that is. They might not have had to take out so much because mom and dad had something saved to help cushion the burden on them, therefore making it easier. But here we are starting from scratch and literally making bricks with no straw. Okay.
Yeah. It's so
So
true.
that's what I got.
Yeah. So Tara, yeah. So how do Micah made a good point about race and class. How does that affect the opportunities that kids have today?
Oh,
Race.
it definitely affects it. Socioeconomics is a part of our conversation. Uncle Boyce also, I'll call him Uncle Boyce, y'all, but Uncle Boyce often talks about B1. He often talks about how people are spending $1,000, for a car note. And y'all know that as a people, we love our cars, right? But you haven't put anything over here in the college fund. You haven't put anything over here to make sure that you're creating generational wealth. You haven't created any type of investment accounts for your kids. So when they do turn 18 or 15 or wherever you have that conversation, because these are ongoing conversations, friends. These are not just conversations you have once they get to middle school or high school. Like elementary school, it needs to be conversations when they're like 5 years old about education. They need to know about how to own a business, the importance of it, entrepreneurship, ownership, how that looks. What can you own? What do you want to own? And that's how you leave the generational wealth. So we're not, if we're having to start over every 30 years and big mama worked for 30 years and then your mama worked for 30 years and you got to work for 30 years, then what are we actually doing? So we've given them 90 years and we don't have nothing. We still didn't come up with nothing. That's where the problem lies. So financial literacy is very important. I know people that make $25,000, $30,000 a year, and I know people that make $1 million a year. And then if you look at their portfolios or profile situation side by side, it will blow your mind how much that person that only makes $30,000 a year has actually attained.
Yeah.
You're really looking forward to saving money, putting it back, that compounded interest, they know about it. Whereas this one over here, you just spending it, you make $1 million, but you're spending $1 million, you still at zero.
Exactly. There was a guy, he became famous because he was like a parking lot attendant. And this mofo was a millionaire. He showed this guy his portfolio, and the guy said, "Yo, how did you, figure this out?" And he said, "I just heard a conversation about stocks, bonds, and I just started investing." He said, "With my little bit of money," and he only made like 45,000, if that, a year. That's it. And he was a millionaire. No one ever knew. They just thought he was the help. All right, which is sad. And it also brings back another situation in my life. When my son was in daycare, kids are kids, okay? They don't know what a Nike is or a Reebok, whatever. And I remember the daycare teacher looked at his little booties, his sneakers, and said, "Where his Nike? Where's his Jordans?" And I thought that was silly. I said, "It's in his college fund. That's where it is." Okay, boo. We're not spending $50 on some kid sneakers that he's going to outgrow in 2 months. Stupid. So you ladies were right. Financial literacy is key. Okay, it is key. So my next question is, and this goes back to the kids, because the kids really are our future. All right. Are trades and technical skills undervalued? And what mistakes parents are making when it comes to educational choices? Do you think that parents are pushing their kids to go to these high institutions instead of just accepting the trade or going to vocational school? What are your thoughts, Micah?
My thoughts are that if you are a Black middle-class American, you need to understand that there is a plan to make sure that your child is also not inside of the middle class, right? And so there is a plan to push them to a lower class. So that was part of the deal. Oh yeah, we'll give you, grants and scholarships and, help and aid and all of that, right? We'll put you on the hook with us. We'll give you the loan so that we could push you to the middle class, but we won't push your child to the middle class either unless you're also on the hook for that. So again, you really have to look at the scope, like the long-term scope of what works for your bloodline, for your family. The decision that my child wants to make, how much is this going to cost me and them? Is this going to set us back? What are the opportunities that are projected to be out there? We don't even make what do you call it, decisions on stocks that we're going to invest in without looking at the future opportunities that they present. So we need to be looking at that as well for the career choices that we're, asking or allowing our kids to be in as well. What's the possibility that's out there? Is this a good gamble or is it not? Because a lot of times you're investing more in college than you actually are inside of the stock market. So we need to just look at that.
Tara, what do you think about that? And also, what do you think about like if a child wants a specific career? They want that career. They don't want their parent to choose a career, because we see so many times where parents try to push their children to be doctors and lawyers and all this other good stuff, but the children just want to go work at Mickey D's, or do YouTube, because that's the new thing. They want to YouTube. What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. I feel as if when children express their interest, we should be interested. Yeah. Because oftentimes kids are not expressing their interest. They're not having those small talks that we used to have in the car because mama wasn't on the phone at the light. We wasn't in the back seat on the phone because we didn't even have a phone. So I think that, first of all, a lot of parents are pushing their children to do things that they either wanted to do, or a lot of parents have this fairy tale of I just dreamed of my baby being an engineer, or I dreamed of my baby being a neurologist or whatever, but this baby really wants to change the tires on race cars. Then once again, we have to start having those conversations early so that you can direct and expose and show and provide your child with those opportunities to see, okay, you saying you want to change tires. Okay, well, we got to go down to the tire shop. Okay, we have a lot of them here in Atlanta, but we're going to go down to the tire shop. I'll let you change tires with Mr. Ken for about an hour. Then I'll see if that's what it is that you want to do, because everybody's not interested in AI or technology or education or being a doctor or what have you. So we have to make sure that they have access to this information, and all of the information is here, folks. But what are we doing with it? We would rather maybe look at reality TV or see how many likes, or, if we dance hard enough on TikTok, who's going to like us the most or whatever. But what about what about sustaining the lifestyle that you want to have and preparing for that? So the TikTok videos may not necessarily get you there. I mean, they're probably paying a penny for 1 million likes nowadays. I heard the algorithm is just crazy with the cost and how much you get from that. But making sure that they're prepared to do what they want to do, set them up to be the best them. So if they want to go and be a fashion designer, if you feel like SCAD is not the place, then find something else. But go ahead and start exposing them as they go through. Don't wait. Start in elementary school. You can take them to a sewing class and teach them about the sewing machine. They may figure out, I don't want to sew. Go and take them to see if they want to be a window washer. Show them the people they're standing on top. I mean, these are different things that people really want to do. If they want to plumb, are you able to be on your knees and legs? Because a lot of that is laborious work. Okay. So a lot of our kids, have a lot of things going on with their health already. So we have to just go ahead and set them up for success. Make sure that we're exposing them and having the conversations. I cannot say that more. Have the conversations now.
You know what I also miss, ladies? Back in the day, there was always somebody in the hood, okay, that was teaching kids like little things to do. Like, for instance, one of my friends, he told me that there was an older gentleman in his hood who taught them how to drywall. So now he knows how to drywall and paint, and I really think those things are missing in our neighborhoods. Fine, go to school, yes. But still, like little manual things that kids should know how to do automatically because we're existing. How to grow food. Remember, I don't know if you ladies remember, but back in the day, our teachers used to give us seeds, soil, and water, and we'll grow our own little plants and put it by the window. They don't have that anymore. Anyway, we got one more video, and then we're going to go into our final thoughts, ladies.
Why it's not necessary first. Not necessary, number one. If you work at GovTech, if you got a high enough clearance and you have a lot of experience, you really won't need a college. But on the contrary, if you want to go for like a position that's management, it's almost baseline that you have a degree. But in the private sector, it's pretty much baseline that you want to have a degree, unless you're coming with certifications and projects and entry level. But if you're going like mid-level and management and up, yeah, you're going to need a degree, unless you know somebody. So I'm saying this for the average person. But I want y'all to pay attention and listen to me, right? So if you're going to go to college, right, please make sure you do research on your degree. For example, if you're going to school for psychology, you're not doing enough for the bachelor's. You're going to need at minimum master's, and most times they want a PhD. So do your research about the jobs and what they're going to require. Other than that, man, y'all be smooth.
Ooh, that chocolate brother fine as hell. Oh, okay, anywho. Ooh, yeah. All
He
right.
probably gets nice to make that content too.
Okay.
So
Yes. So for final thoughts,
anyway.
Tara, tell us, what advice would you give parents right now? And let us know where we can find you.
Absolutely. So the advice that I would give parents right now is to go ahead and start building those bridges and those networks for your children. Find the things that they are interested in, that they love to do, that they've shown interest in doing, and make sure that you pour into them. Have them to join a class. Read the newspaper. They are digital now. Okay, the AJC is totally digital now. Have them to find those different local classes that they can join, or maybe something that is virtual or even out of town somewhere online, and start to build those skill sets. Our parents need to go ahead and step up. Make sure you're having the conversations with your children. We are trying to build generational wealth. We want our children to be productive citizens within this complex society, and we want them to be able to live a purpose-filled life. So let's go ahead and get them prepared and off to the right direction.
I agree. Oh, yeah.
And I
Mike-
did not share where you can find me, but you can find me everywhere. Sorry, Yolanda. You can find me everywhere at The Bossy Educator. So online, the website is thebossyeducator.com, and on Instagram at The Bossy Educator. And of course, my podcast, the Talk Tank Podcast by The Bossy Educator.
That's right, sis. We'll be following you. And Micah, let me ask you this question. Okay, AI is becoming a new thing, Miss Digital Diva. Okay, but what do you think is going to be the most important thing for kids to do in the future? Follow the digital path or the blue collar path? What do you think is going to be good for their future?
For them, I wouldn't recommend that they go into technology unless they were leaders. Straight up. If you don't have a leadership type of mindset, do not go into technology. If you have the type of mind where you actually need structure and you need to follow direction and orders because that is your baseline of comfort, then by all means go into something like that. Technology has the opportunity to really make you a millionaire and a billionaire, but it's not going to be based off of talent alone. It's going to be based on, honestly, straight up, like your leadership abilities, right? And if you are just not that type of person, if your child is not that type of person, don't put them into what could very much end up being a trap for them like that. A high income is not guaranteed in this field either, right? So you can run into that as well.
Yeah. Tell us where we can find you, sis.
Absolutely, guys. So on all platforms, you can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok at Micah the Creator. And if you're interested in learning about AI, you can go to www.herpayday.com, where I teach you how to use AI for digital marketing and rapid product development.
Good. Thank you for that. And my final thoughts is this. We are in a very this world is changing fast and furiously, okay? AI is taking off, technology is taking off, and I really feel that we need to teach our kids these skill sets, because just like how when the internet first came out and it just took off and made digital entrepreneurs, digital millionaires, digital everything, and now we are living by the internet. I think too, kids need to learn those skills and AI and things like that. And also, if they do want to like get into the market of, the labor market as like a plumber, electrician, just allow them to do that as well. Do whatever resonates in your spirit. I'm Yolanda Spivey. You can find me all over the internet. My website is mwhitney.com. I'm an insurance broker. So if you need anything insured, even your pinky toe, I'm serious. I can insure that. Okay. So give me a call, please. Thanks. Anyway, thank you, ladies, for coming out today. And we had a
Absolutely.
really good show. Thank you. This was very informative. And we will see you next week.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.